The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army.
Welcome to the Benjamin Dixon Show. I am your host, Benjamin Dixon. Today is Thursday, March 5th, 2020. I have a lot in store for today. I do have a strategy for us to go up against Biden. I've been fleshing it out on Twitter. I want to encourage everyone that we're actually in a better position than we were before Super Tuesday, and I'll explain why. You know, maybe you think I'm grasping at straws. Maybe you think I'm, trying to give us hope when it's hopeless. But no, I honestly think we have a very strong path forward, and it's not going to be pretty, but it's going to be necessary. We'll talk about that after the Patron party. But first, I wanted to wait till the end of Black History Month to tell a story that I've told before, but I need to tell it with a little more emphasis because it's so much more applicable now. And it's about our Black elders. It's about the Black Democratic establishment. And it's about the Democratic Party right now, particularly Joe Biden, trying to delineate between or trying to make a distinction without a difference between Black voters in the South and the Democratic establishment. First, let me explain to you why it's so important for them to make that distinction. Simone Sanders tried this on Twitter yesterday and actually to quite some success. I think she had like 40,000 likes or something like that. So this is their talking point. Here's why their talking point is bereft of any substance. Or actually, no. Here's what they're trying to do. They're trying to insulate. They're trying to neutralize the quote unquote attack against the Democratic establishment, rallying around Joe Biden by saying, no, it wasn't the establishment. It was Black folks. Black folks did that. Obviously, it is very possible that the Venn diagram between the Democratic establishment and Black folks has some overlap, but they don't expect people to actually go that one step further to see the problem in their fallacious argument. But I digress. So the number one thing they're trying to do is insulate the Democratic establishment by using the firewall. By surrounding the Democratic establishment with all the good Black folks who voted for Joe Biden and said, no, you're not going to attack this establishment because it was Black folks. Well, let me tell you about these Black folks. Let me start off by saying one thing that you have to master as a Black person. It's probably true about everyone, but it's particularly salient in the Black community. You have to simultaneously balance the ability to respect your elders and your ancestors while ignoring them. You have to be able to look at Pop and say, hey, I respect you, Pop. I love you, man. Yeah, you show you right, Brett. Yeah, I hear you, sir. But you do not give Pop the chainsaw at 85 years old and send him outside to go cut down some bushes. Right? I don't care. You just have to learn how to nod your head, tell them you love them, tell them you respect them, and let that be the end of the conversation. Okay? And this is what they're trying to do with the Democratic establishment. They're trying to protect it by insulating it with Black people, by surrounding it with this Black firewall. Here, your Black Democratic establishment people. Everyone kin to you ain't skin to you. Now, this is a conversation that I've been really reluctant about having because I simultaneously do maintain respect for my elders and the Black community particularly. And I want to be careful to let everyone, white or non-Black person, know that as we have this conversation, that the best thing for you to do is just to like and retweet and don't leave any comments. Right. Because it's a minefield. It's a tumultuous minefield that will backfire and explode in your face at any given moment. It's not for the faint of heart. It's only for the skillful people who have the ability to circumnavigate these tumultuous waters. OK, all of that set aside. Here's a story. 2008. Picture it. Sicily. 2008. Somebody got it. I am poor, extremely poor, way poorer than I am now. And because I was a teacher who got laid off at the beginning of the recession. The last ones in, teachers, were the first ones out. I was a first year teacher, 2007. We all got laid off because of the recession. And so I was jobless in the fall of 2008. Campaigns were going on. I was able to get some temporary work on a campaign with the gentleman who was running for commissioner in Fort Lauderdale. He knew my father. My father was a pastor for 41 years before he passed away. And so he was well respected in the community. But my father didn't have any money to give me, and I was a grown man at that point anyway. I wasn't going to take money from him. Well, I would have, but he just didn't have any to give me. But that's besides the point. He was able to get me an opportunity on this campaign. It was temporary work. I wasn't a staffer. I would go in and make phone calls. And back then they used to pay us to make phone calls because I don't know if we really believed in the politicians back then as much as we do now. But they paid us to phone bank. And then they paid us to canvass. They offered us $100 to canvass on election day, to actually go and get people out to the polls on election day. And so about 100 of us showed up. Working class people, right? Like, don't get me wrong. I had been working in the office. I knew the commissioner. I knew some of his staffers. It was cool. Like, I had been in the office, but on canvassing day, I went out in the streets with everybody. And as you do campaigns and you do canvassing, particularly in the Black community, you see the economic stratification, right? You see the economic strata, and all of us who were in the streets were poor, working class. I might have known some people on the inside, but I was poor, working class. That's why I was out there. I needed that $100. I was going to give them my 12 hours of labor. So we gave them our 12 hours of labor. Everything's copacetic. We come back and they don't have our money ready. Cool. It takes time. You got to write 100 checks. We get it. 2 hours goes by and I'm like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. I go knock on the door. They're like, oh, hey, Ben, we know you. Come on inside. There's 100 people out here waiting on our checks. I don't think so. I told them, no, I'm going to stay out here with the people. Can you get our checks? You know what they brought us? My little brother was there. He could tell you. They brought us fried chicken and beer. Black folks, Black Democratic establishment folks brought us chicken and beer. Now, mind you, the chicken was good and the beer was good, but I'm still insulted. Okay. I'm like, what's next? You're going to roll out some watermelon? Yes, we're going to eat the goddamn watermelon, but can you not take advantage of the stereo? Can we not play into it? Seriously? I'm so serious. I'm kind of joking, but I'm also serious. I was insulted because if a white person had given us fried chicken and beer, man, that crap would have been all over the news. Besides, we don't want your food. We want our checks. Okay. All right. So that was the first part. No big deal, right? We didn't make a big deal about that. But here's what made the big deal. Not only did we have to wait, 2 additional hours. So we ended up doing 14 hours, only got paid for 12. Not only did they insult us by giving us chicken and beer, right? But then also members of the staff, I overheard them complaining and saying this. Why are they complaining? It's only $100. And I'm like, excuse me, say that again for me. They're like, it's only $100. And it was at that moment, like, I knew intellectually that not everybody who's Black is going to be for you. But it was at that moment that it became crystal clear that there are class divisions in the Black community that are just as stratified as any other community, with the same condescending gaze from the wealthy elite looking down on the unwashed masses. That paradigm replicates itself through every single community, including the Black community. And guess who was giving that condescending gaze? People who were Black folks who were a part of the Democratic establishment. Guess who were the recipients of that gaze? Black folks who were in the working class. I'm sorry to tell you, but all of your heroes of the Democratic establishment, they're not the Black Democratic establishment. They're not heroes because they're Black. They're not good just because they are Black. They don't get some special, we can't critique them because they're Black or because they're women. Like, we are going to shatter every single one of those frames because what you do defines you, not the color of your skin. Now, I'm going to be very careful here because tomorrow I will defend every single one of them. If one of you white liberals or white progressives come talking out the side of your neck, that's just the nature of our relationship. Like I said, I simultaneously have to be able to respect my elders as well as be able to tell them when enough is enough. So all my white listeners and all my white followers and supporters, just like and retweet, keep the commentary to yourself. Let us handle this. This is a house conversation. This is in the house. This is in the family. But now for the white people who are trying to throw out black folks like they're black Pokemon, like go establishment, go firewall, go. Right? They're trying to do everything they can to protect themselves, insulate themselves from criticism by throwing black folks out there. I've got news for you. I'm no more impressed by your black folks than I am by anybody. Your black folks will not discourage me from bringing a class critique to this party. I'm sorry. It doesn't work like that. A matter of fact, I want to also make something clear. What I'm saying right now has got not a damn thing to do with Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders don't pay my check. Bernie Sanders, it's got nothing. Listen, I didn't even know who Bernie Sanders was in 2008. What I learned in 2008 was that everybody who's got skin color like you does not have your best interest in mind, particularly where it comes to class interest. And so there is a class divide in the Democratic Party amongst black voters where certain black folks that, you know what, I would be no more welcome in certain circles. I mean, I guess I would now because I'm Ben Dixon and I did this. I helped them get rid of Bloomberg, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you got 30,000 likes on your retweet, man. We're interested in you. But at the end of the day, the only reason you wanted me to come from the outside to the inside was because you knew my father. But you did not want me to come from the outside into the inside fighting on behalf of the people that I was out there with. See, I've got a chip on my shoulder. If you want to know what this is about, this has got nothing to do with Bernie Sanders. This has everything to do with the chip on my shoulder growing up poor. And seeing a system around me where it was nothing but wealth and lavish living. And I'm going to the store with food stamps because my father decided to sacrifice on behalf of some of these same establishment Negroes. I've seen the bourgeoisie in the black community. I've seen it up front. And don't get me wrong, I might throw on a ascot and go hang out with them. I might, because this is the dichotomy of blackness. You know, I am giving this critique for one reason and one reason only. You will not use the sanctity of our blackness to protect the Democratic Party from criticisms that could lead to benefiting black people. In other words, you're not going to use our blackness to harm other black folks. You're not going to do it. I'm sorry if they kick me out and don't let me come to the whatever event. They might, somebody might call my wife and be like, "Ooh, Jada, your husband he's a little too radical. Tell him to, I might get a buzz from a family member," whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, just like I do, that there are wealthy black folks, and wealth is relative. I want to tell you, wealth is pretty relative. We're not talking about uber rich black folks. We're talking about black folks who got a pension. Right? They got them a little something. They got them a little retirement. They got them some benefits. They did good for themselves. And I'm glad that you all did good for yourselves because we needed to borrow the money because you helped create a system that devastated all of us. So I'm glad you're doing well because we probably have to borrow some money soon. Okay? I'm just serious. I'm so serious here. But the fact of the matter is this. The Democratic Party is trying to insulate itself from criticisms to protect itself from Bernie Sanders. And right now they're using this black firewall not only to get these votes in southern states that they are not going to win in the general election, by the way. There's not a single state in the South, with exception of maybe, I think Virginia. I think Virginia might be the only state that he won, that Joe Biden won the other night, that actually is going to be carried in the general election. In other words, you guys are lavishing all this praise on the black firewall that delivered the South, and you're going to lose those same states because those states are too conservative for any Democrat to pick up. And this is why I say, you learn as a black youth to respect your elders. I got nothing but love for James Clyburn, but he's wrong, right? I'd be honored to sit down and have lunch with James Clyburn, but he's wrong, particularly when it comes to everybody. He's always saying, we don't want free stuff. Black people in our community, we don't want free stuff. Yeah, well, it's not free, James. It's not free. It's our tax dollars being allocated to help the people versus being allocated to help, let's say, pharmaceutical companies, James. So, look, again, I got nothing but respect for my elders, but I also know there comes a time and a place where you tell them, no, pop. You're not going outside with the chainsaw. I don't care how angry you get. I don't care how much you insult me. You're going to go sit down and sip on some cognac and just enjoy your twilight years, which happens to be what Joe Biden needs to do. We'll talk about that after this.
Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show.
And here we go. Very special welcome and thank you to Nathaniel Pramus. Our promise? Thank you for becoming a patron. Siege 211. Brett Hickenbotham. Who? Thank you for becoming a patron. Charles Talbot. Lorelli. Ernest Herrera, James O'Hagan, Joe Nolawi Araya. I'm so sorry. Welcome to the patron family. Fawn Rockcliffe. Thank you for becoming a patron. Adam Bradley, Keandra Plama, Jana Shadrick, Joe Anton. For serious. Thank you for becoming a patron. Trevor W. Denton, thank you for becoming a patron. Matthew Becker, Jordan C. Speed, Damanu, thank you for becoming a patron. Michael Brown, thank you for becoming a patron. And Nancy Alexander, thank you for becoming a patron. I just want to make sure Jesse Black, David Messias, Bradley O'Neill, Sean, Tashina Rana, Michelle, Derek, Trenton Rex, Matt Dozier, Alex Martin, Andrew Nixon, Andrea Rosario Jabori. Now, I recognize that name. I called that one yesterday. Thank you to everyone for becoming a patron. You too can join this prestigious and prodigious family by going to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and getting access to twice the content without any of the ads like you're going to hear here. All right, let's jump back into this conversation. So Tuesday was a rough night. Yesterday's podcast, all I could really do was just keep saying, hang in there. Don't give up. Hang in there. Don't give up. That's all I can say because I really hadn't gotten my footing about me myself. I honestly felt that the move that they made to consolidate on Monday morning was so brilliant that I felt like we had been outflanked, right? And outmaneuvered. But I just needed a few more hours to really process this. And the establishment has completely overplayed their hand. Completely. They do not have any cards left. I'm sorry. I want you to really think about this. They've just gotten rid of every moderate in the race and left everything in the hands of Joe. I don't know if this is my wife or my sister, Biden. Joe, who 3030030902110, Joe Biden, who, again, I'm not really making fun of his cognitive decline because I kind of got a feeling in the back of my mind that I'm on that route myself. It's just what it is. I just feel like, there's some spots where my brain just says, nope, not today, Negro. You ain't getting none. You're not getting this piece of information today. So I recognize the look in his eye when his brain betrays him. It's going to happen to the best of us, right? But it is irresponsible. And this is how we handle this, folks, right? It's a delicate conversation. They're trying to blame it on him stuttering. No. This is how we handle it. Do you honestly think Donald Trump is going to have any mercy on this man because you call it a stutter when everyone else sees it as cognitive decline? No. Donald Trump is going to pound this man into a political pulp, and all we're going to be able to do is sit there and wonder, how did we ever think Joe Biden could win this? See, we have to paint that picture now. And the best way to paint that picture is to make sure that he has plenty of opportunity to talk to the press. Really, they have consolidated, they have coalesced around a candidate whose only pathway to victory is that he doesn't talk to too many reporters. I kind of like our odds The entirety of the establishment has pulled its entire weight behind a man who at any given moment is going to reveal the depth of his cognitive decline. I'm laughing because of the desperation of the Democratic establishment. I'm terrified at the prospect of this man being the person that you're going to send into battle. You don't give Paw access to the saw after a certain age. I'm sorry, the power drill, you just don't put it in his hand. Is it ageist? Fine. Because what you're not going to do is woke concern troll us into 4 more years of Donald Trump by saying, oh, you're being ageist. What the hell do you think Donald Trump is going to do? What the hell do you think all his supporters are going to do? You think they're going to play by your rules? See, what's happening in the Democratic establishment is that they're trying to make us abide by rules that their enemies don't even abide by. And so they try to control us with this concern trolling. Oh, don't talk about his cognitive decline, when that's the very first thing Republicans are going to do to you. Well, Ben, we should be better than Republicans. Yes, better includes being smarter. You morons are entrusting the future of our country and, quite frankly, our planet in the hands of a person who confused his wife for his sister. Oh, boy, no, they swapped them on me. No, Joe, they didn't. Listen. This is elder abuse of the highest order. If you're not comfortable with this, I've had this conversation. I've been dealing with this with Joe Biden. I recognized it right away. I mean, it's easy to recognize, but it's particularly easy to recognize when you've seen it in your family. Okay. All right. So it's not a fun conversation. It is not something for everyone to go out there and make fun of him. It is a matter of urgent concern. This is going to destroy the Democratic Party because it's going to lead to an all-out political bloodbath, rhetorically speaking, in the debates. And your only hope for victory is to avoid pressers, gaggles, and press conferences. So I see the hope. The real story is that we just absolutely have to bring light to his his diminishing cognitive capacity. We have to. It's irresponsible not to. Like, if we allow the Democratic Party to woke shame us into not pointing out that Joe Biden is not coherent enough to actually survive 3 presidential debates without utterly, like Donald Trump would have a record. Donald Trump will get 48 states. When Joe Biden gets on stage and he has one of his moments, and he's going to have one in each, and this is what we're dealing with, people. Donald Trump is going to exploit that. His audience is going to enjoy the cruelty of it. And so while you'll be saying, oh, this is so not becoming of a president, Donald Trump would win. Your woke shaming does not work on people who are shameless. And so it is irresponsible, plus it's elder abuse. Why are you all making this man do this? He needs to be at home. He needs to be resting. Jill Biden knows that. Look at the concern on her face in some of these videos. Now she's going along with it, so she's complicit as well, but she knows this man does not need to have access to the nuclear codes. Listen, there's a stage in everyone's life when the drill, the power saw, you don't give it to Pop to go outside and cut down a tree. You sure as hell don't give him access to the nuclear codes. And this is me being genuinely concerned about Joe Biden being exploited. His consultants and the Democratic establishment are exploiting Joe Biden simply for the fact that he can stand up still. Because he can't even put together a coherent sentence. This is not meant to be funny. This is to say how shameless the Democratic Party is, how their woke shaming is going to get us destroyed, is going to kill us, quite frankly. Because they were like, oh, you can't talk about Joe Biden because he stutters. No, we're going to talk about Joe Biden's cognitive decline because, one, that means he should not have access to the nuclear codes. Two, that means he won't even get access to the nuclear codes because Donald Trump is going to politically disembowel him. He's going to exploit. When have you ever known Donald Trump not to exploit someone's Achilles heel? Donald Trump knows exactly where to hit you and how to hit you over and over and over and over again. And it's easy being a bigot. He's not going to have to be creative. He's not going to ever have to worry about keeping up with his lies because his audience doesn't care how much he lies. Okay? I think I made the case. Is there anything? Is there any rock unturned? Did I point out everything? All right, let's move on. Okay. Yeah. I'm so stupid, man. I think part of the reason you come to the show is because I finally have let my hair down. Well, not the hair on my head, but you get the picture. And finally decided to just be as comfortable with me being corny and dad jokes and just kind of chill a little bit more. I think you come here. Basically, I think you come here to see me make a fool of myself every now and then. In between having some of the best commentary that you're going to find anywhere on the internet, anywhere online, anywhere on television, you actually come here to hear me mispronounce names in the Patron party. I think that's part of our relationship. But I digress. One of the things I do really well is put words together, string sentences together. I like to string together statements that really open up other people's minds. If a statement doesn't have the capacity of stimulating new ideas in your head, it's not really a complete sentence yet, right? It's not the type of thought that I like to transfer to people. We'll talk about all that stuff in the Patron. Like the patrons area is becoming a little it's an experience. It's an experience. You got to go patreon.com/the BPD show to see what I'm talking about. But what I'm talking about right now is a tweet that I sent out last night that I think perfectly encapsulates, does everything that I needed to do. And I said this to the bros, the Bernie bros and the Bernie bros. Could we be kinder to everybody online? Sure. Absolutely. I'm always an advocate for being kinder. But can we ever be kind enough for the Democratic establishment to not leverage that as a tool against us? Never. Never. Ever, 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 ever. Right? Civility is a tool of the powerful. Right? They have the expectation of us to play nice with them when they are doing everything they can to destroy us. No. You get no such. You who are without mercy now plead for it. I thought you were made of sterner stuff, Megatron. So anyway, somebody got that one. But that's the thing. Like, we absolutely can never be nice enough for the establishment, because once we get nice enough for them, that means that we are vulnerable to them to do whatever they want. That's how nice they want us. They want us nice enough for them to be able to blow us out the way. Nice enough for them to be able to crush us. That's how nice people want you to be. I can tell you that firsthand. It's going to be a lot of great stories coming out soon, and I'll be able to tell some of them one day. But let me tell you one thing people will always do. They try to make sure that you behave in a manner that they can always control. That's all this is. Everybody's complaining about the snake. Oh, the snake emoji. The snake. I never use a single snake emoji, but you think I give a damn about them? If you were her, oh, I can't believe you called a woman a snake. I mean, when's the last time you've been on the internet? Like, the snake is like the least of our concerns. Oh, you shouldn't have called him a rat. Well, not only did he look like a rat, but he behaved like a rat. I never really used it myself. I never used a rat emoji on Twitter. But let's just be real, okay? He was a snake, and we should have called him a snake rat. The point is that no matter how nice we are, it will never be nice enough for the establishment who's absolutely trying to leverage civility as a tool to keep us in our place. Now, can we be kinder? I think strategically we should be kinder to the supporters, right? I've never seen any utility in going after, well, not the 2020 Ben, okay? I'm not talking about the 2016 Ben when I was pretty new to Twitter. I'm talking about the 6-year-old guy on Twitter. I've been here long enough to realize there's value in being kind to people. No, strike that. I've always known that there's value in being kind to people. One thing that I was willing to do is scorch the earth with people in political arguments. And I don't think there's any value in that from my perspective. You don't want me out there with my 90,000 followers getting into scorched earth battles with people with like 30 followers. Okay. That's what I'm saying. But I feel like there's utility in being kind, even if it's only strategic. But never should we slow down to try to be kind to this establishment, because we'll never be kind enough for them. And if we ever make it so that we're kind enough for them, that means that we have made ourselves vulnerable to them destroying us. That's what they want. That's the kind of subservience that they want. They want us to obey. They want us to be like that elderly man who pulled me to the side in South Carolina, was ready to jack me up. I mean, and he was spitting everywhere. Good Lord, I'm still healthy now, so we'll see. But he was just spraying all in my face. But his anger, do you think he cared about being kind to me? This man told me to shut up a couple times. I'm like, dude, you don't even know my name. And second of all, you really don't know me, because I really don't allow many people to talk to me like this. But we're in public and I want to get invited back to MSNBC, so I can't be out here brawling with an old elderly man. Obviously, I would never have brawled with them. But the point is that they are not going to return to you the civility that they are demanding from you. They will never return to you the civility that they are demanding from you, and they will use that civility to control you, ultimately defeating your political agenda. So no. Can we be kinder? Yes. Would we ever be kind enough for them? No. We'll talk about this and a whole lot more in the Patrons episode coming up in about 15 seconds. Everyone else, I'll see you tomorrow.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show. If you like this episode, be sure to share, like, and subscribe.